first, though. Making most of the front pages this morning is the sit-down interview Meghan has given to a US magazine, The Cut. It comes ahead of her and Prince Harry's trip to the UK next week. And royal editor Russell Myers joins us now. Continuous bombshells in the past few weeks, and this is certainly another one, and oddly timed because of this trip next week. There's a lot of excitement about them coming back here. Where does she sit today off the back of her
excitement in
quotes?
certain quarters, I would add, because I think that you talk about the timing. It's a very important week, not only for the royal family. I think the Brits are remembering Princess Diana on the anniversary of her 25th anniversary of her death this week. But of course, Meghan has a podcast out. It's shot to #1 in several countries. I think it's in more than 12 countries. It's doing rather well in now, and she's obviously got to push the agenda, and she has really pushed the buttons in this. She has not held back. I mean, it's over 6,500 words, this article. She sort of relays her dissatisfaction at her treatment when she was in the monarchy. You know, it was only a couple of years, but she's almost laid some veiled threats by saying, you know, I can say anything. I'm not saying it much, but I can say anything. There's discussions about Harry's relationship with his father, discussions about her own father. And I just think that there's just so much to unpack here. And one may wonder, who on earth is advising Meghan and Harry? Because it'll be interesting to see the backlash on this, because I think a lot of people will say, you know, people are struggling. There's cost of living crisis. People are wondering what position the monarchy really has, or even celebrity sometimes. And, you know, the fact that Meghan is bemoaning her life whilst sitting in a $15 million mansion really has some serious questions to be asked, I think.
Yeah, well, I think that certainly online has jarred with a lot of the American kind of audience, oddly enough. And indeed, the journalist that wrote the story had said there she was sitting and reminded her of this unimaginable wealth that is someone's daily routine, and that's how it felt sitting in this mansion. And it's an awkward one to awkward.
It is awkward, and I think that she doesn't do herself any favours, because she compares herself to sort of being the saviour of little girls, that looking up to her, and when they meet her, that she has to remember that this is their moment, meeting a real live princess. I mean, she walked away from the royal family. She didn't want to have anything to do with it, and yet it is layered time and time again through this article about the treatment they perceive they had. I think talking about how they couldn't wait to leave Britain because of the treatment that not only that they had in the media, and of course there was some really distressing articles that have been written in a commentary sense. But I've always said I think that they were treated, very fairly. There was overwhelming groundswell of support for them. They could have been fantastic for the country and for the royal family. But then, using this sort of falsehoods by saying our children couldn't have gone to school because there would have been 40 photographers outside the school. Well, many other royals, certainly senior royals like William and Kate, have got used to the situation, and that the situation is not real. There aren't photographers following them around. There is a code of conduct that is used, and I think her understanding of the way that royal life could have worked has been so skewed, and it just seems quite vitriolic a lot of the time.
Well, there seems to be a bit of confusion over one of her quotes where she talks about how Harry said, "I lost my dad in this process," and it can be taken in one of two ways. Where do you stand with it?
Well, it is interesting, because I think the article is it's a great read. You must go and read it. It's still available on The Cut online. As I said, it's over 6,000 words, and the very fact that it is very well written. This could be taken one of two ways, but the fact that she's using sort of reported speech that Harry had told me he'd lost his father, I mean, this will be severely damaging, distressing to Prince Charles. He has offered them an olive branch on several occasions. Come and stay at my house. They're worried about security, and I think that the bridges are already burned, and there will be absolutely no way back for them. But the way that she kind of paints them both exactly the same. She says, we're like salt and pepper, always together. Tells another anecdote about Harry looking at the intertwined trees in their $15 million mansion, about how that's, he said, this is just us. It is very clear that they are just wanting to make it them against the world, and I think that's pretty sad, to be honest.
It is difficult, although there was, as I say, this confusion with some people think she was actually talking about her father.
Well, again, I think that, the Sussex machine has moved into place here and trying to say that Meghan was only talking about her father. My understanding from the journalist at The Cut is that she felt no need to change the article post-publication. So read into that what you will.
And you really do feel at this point it would be very difficult for them to come back into the fold on any level. Do you think there's any room for manoeuvre there?
No, I mean, listen, the Queen has always said they remain much-loved members of the family, but how on earth can they continue to put up with this? I mean, one must feel very sorry for the family because their hands are tied. They can't come out and say what they feel, I suppose. But again, when there's veiled threats from Meghan saying, you know, sometimes my silence is golden, I can say anything, I think that's pretty worrying, to be honest.
Well, is talk that she's going to be returning to Instagram.
Yes.
Which, of course, is a very personal way to get your voice heard. That could be an interesting time as well. There must be analysts sitting in Buckingham Palace just literally every day waiting to see what
refreshing
happens
the Instagram feed. I mean, it's interesting because they've said previously that social media is damaging to our emotional well-being, and yet she kind of reveals, you know, with bright eyes that she's going to the journalists that she's going to be back on Instagram. This will be another way of having her voice. I mean, we've heard from her so much over the last few months. I don't know what else there is to say, but you know, when there's millions of dollars at stake, and this is the fact that they've signed big money deals with Spotify, with Netflix, then they've got to keep on keeping on. And unfortunately, that's the reality. She must
be angry, though. If there's anything to look at, there must be something where she feels, I have been misunderstood, I haven't been treated the way I wanted to be treated, and I have a right to be heard.
I get that. I understand. And she does have a right to be heard, and so does Harry. If they do feel they were mistreated by the family, by the British media, they've often said this, but surely it's now counterintuitive. I think that because it's almost becoming part of their psyche that they have to deliver this broadside against everybody else and say that we're all alone. Well, they've done pretty well out of it. You know, they've signed mega money deals. They're living the life. She paints this picture of an idyllic life in California. Their children are happy. They're happy, so they say. And yet, I think a lot of people would just say, just get on with it and stop, you know, raking over old coals, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like you say, the interview is in the magazine The Cut. It is online now. We did go to Clarence House in Buckingham Palace we reached out to them for a response, and we didn't get one, which I guess is fairly expected. But yeah, very interesting times. Talk of reality shows and various things coming up. So you'll be back, is what I'm trying to say.
We'll be watching and we'll
with
be
more
talking
discussion,
about it,
I'm guessing. Thanks so much, Russell, as always.
Don't forget, you can watch full episodes of Lorraine on the ITV Hub and all the best clips, compilations and playlists right here on our channel. Just subscribe now and you'll never miss an upload. Click here to watch another video similar to this one, or click here to head to our channel's homepage to explore all of our exciting videos.